The night started like any other, quiet, cold, and endlessly ordinary. She stood in the dim light of her apartment hallway, staring at the elevator doors that seemed to mock her with their metallic silence. When they finally opened, she wasn't prepared for what was waiting inside. A man stood there, tall, composed, and dangerously charming. His eyes held something she hadn't seen in a long time, confidence mixed with chaos. "Hey," he said softly. "What are you waiting for? Come here." There was something about his tone, something magnetic that pulled her closer even though her mind screamed to stay away. She didn't know him, but the way he looked at her made her heart race in a way she couldn't explain. Moments later, she found herself standing on a rooftop, the city spread out below like a sea of glittering lights. The man poured 2 glasses of champagne and gestured toward the sky. "I brought you here to see the top of the world," he said with a grin that was both arrogant and beautiful. The table before them was perfectly set, candles, roses, the soft hum of music in the air. "You deserve this?" "The view, the night, me," he whispered. Most laughed at his confidence, but the truth was, she hadn't felt desired in a long time. There was something intoxicating about being seen again, even if the man seeing her was trouble wrapped in a designer suit. She stared at the sparkling city below and asked, "Why me?" Leaned closer, his voice low and smooth. "Because you're different. Because I can feel the fire in you that you're too afraid to show. Because you crave something real, something dangerous." She froze. How could he know that? How could a stranger look straight into her soul like that? And yet as he brushed a strand of hair from her face, she felt something awaken inside her, a feeling she'd buried long ago under years of silence and pain. That night felt like a dream. The champagne tasted sweeter than anything she'd ever had, the music softer, the air lighter. But when morning came, reality returned with brutal honesty. She went home to the sound of a slamming door. Her husband stood in the doorway, beer bottle in hand, eyes bloodshot with anger. "Where the hell have you been?" he demanded. She froze, heart pounding. I just needed some air," she whispered. He laughed coldly. "Do I look like I care about your air? Where's my dinner?" His voice was harsh, each word a dagger. She moved silently toward the kitchen, knowing better than to argue. When he stormed out later that night, she sat at the kitchen table, staring at the cracks in the wall. That was her life, 1,000 little cracks that she'd been pretending not to see. They say that when you're beaten down enough times, the pain becomes familiar. It doesn't go away. It just hides under the surface until you forget what it feels like to live without it. She wanted to cry, but no tears came. Somewhere inside her, something had gone numb. But that numbness was dangerous because it made her crave anything that made her feel alive again. Days passed, and then she saw him again, the man from the rooftop. His name was Alex. He appeared when she least expected it, leaning against a cafe wall like he had all the time in the world. "You look like you've been through hell," he said with a soft smile. She sighed. "Maybe I have." He took a step closer. "Then let me show you heaven." She laughed bitterly, but his eyes were serious. "You don't deserve to live like this," he said. "Not with someone who treats you like a ghost." Something inside her broke open. For years she'd been invisible, a shadow in her own home. And now, here was someone who saw her, who spoke to her like she mattered. It was dangerous, she knew that. But when he reached for her hand, she didn't pull away. That single touch felt like a spark lighting up the darkness she'd been trapped in. From that day, everything changed. Alex took her to places she'd never been. Quiet restaurants, moonlit walks, nights filled with laughter instead of fear. He made her feel alive again, made her believe she was more than just someone's wife, someone's responsibility. But beneath that charm, there was something else, a shadow in his smile, a hint of control in the way he said her name. One night, as they stood by the city lights again, he whispered, "You're mine now." She froze. The words echoed in her mind like chains rattling shut. "What do you mean?" she asked quietly. He smirked. "You belong with me. No one else can have you." It should have scared her, but part of her mistook it for passion. That's how it starts. The line between love and control blurs until you can tell which is which. For a while she tried to ignore the signs. It's the late-night calls asking where she was. The jealousy when she mentioned a friend. The way he said, "I love you," like it was both a promise and a threat. She wanted to believe that he was different, that his possessiveness was just intensity, that maybe this time love wouldn't hurt. But deep down, she knew. She was running from one cage straight into another. Then came the night everything fell apart. Her husband confronted her, furious. "Where did you get those clothes? The perfume?" "Who's giving you money?" he shouted. She didn't answer. "You think you can just walk away? You're nothing without me," he screamed. For the first time, she didn't flinch. She looked him in the eyes and said quietly, "You're right, I was nothing. But I'm not anymore." He raised his hand, but she stepped back. "I'm done being scared of you," she said, her voice steady. "You can't hurt me anymore." Then she turned and walked out the door. No tears, no hesitation, just freedom. She went straight to Alex's apartment. When he opened the door, his smile returned instantly. "I knew you'd come back," he said. "Couldn't stay away?" But she wasn't smiling. "I didn't come back," she said softly. "I came to say goodbye." His grin faltered. "What are you talking about?" "I thought you were my escape," she continued, her voice trembling but firm. "But you're just another cage." He laughed, but there was no humor in it. "You think you can just leave me?" "I already have.